The one benefit about, again, this goes against Twitter because Twitter is also a hive mind, but HF boards, the great thing about HF boards is that it's a barometer for the market value of certain players within certain fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go and, the hilarious thing is that Toronto Maple Leafs fans think that Justin Hall is like a 4 first-round pick. He's like, yeah, we'll give you Travis Dermott for JT Miller, buddy, but we're doing you a favor. It's like, okay, that's a little crazy. One idea.
I'm doing you a favor. Just get this off.
Yeah.
Get it off the lot.
So one idea I have, again, is going back to Pittsburgh, because ever since Jim Rutherford and Patrick Elvin started, we've heard these rumors out of Pittsburgh, that there's something on the table or whatnot. And one of the ideas that was pitched that both Pittsburgh Penguins fans and Canucks fans agreed on, and they were kind of like growing into, and you always know that a trade works if neither side is like supremely stoked. They're like, okay, yeah, like that's a trade that works. And most posters will be like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, okay, like that, then it works. Then if you were to propose that to the public, then that's probably the reaction you'd get, and the deal is entirely based around, I mean, the Canucks have been rumored to be going after John Marino for a long time. They've tried, they just can't make the trade work.
Now, Arash, has this, I heard about that this week. Has this gone back to the previous regime too?
I think it was the previous regime as well. But I mean, you look at you look at the cap hits and you look at everything lining up with what was proposed. But it's the idea being John Marino and Kasperi Kapanen, who recently was healthy scratched.
Keeping him healthy for that big trade.
Yeah,
nothing to do with on ice performance.
Pal, yeah. For Brock Besser and one of the right-handed D-men, if this is Luke Shen, if this is, Hamonic, it's not going to be Pullman, but who knows?
Come on,
we can all dream. But it's one of those right-handed D, because if Marino's coming back, then you're going to have an influx. And the idea behind it is that, okay, so Kapanen needs to be qualified as well. He's an RFA. Marino is on a long-term deal. He's in a down year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain amount of, a temperature gauge in the Pittsburgh organization, at least the fan base, that they're not entirely sold on John Marino as a long-term solution.
And what's their argument for that?
Just that offensively, he from his rookie season, offensively, he's taken a dip.
Yeah.
He can still skate defensively. He's adequate and everything. It just seems to be one of those situations where a player's confidence just hasn't been there. And a long-term solution, they're not entirely sure. And the idea of getting Crosby and Malkin, a winger of Brock Besser's caliber right now at his age, the cost being, okay, Kasperi Kapanen, well, okay, they might be able to, is he going to be a long-term solution in Pittsburgh? Probably not. He's healthy scratch right now. He's probably not. He's making 3.2 on the last year of his deal.
He would have been a solution by now.
Yeah.
If he was.
Well, this is the thing with him, is that Kasperi Kapanen is a middle six winger that, if utilized correctly, you're looking at someone, who can pop in 15 goals, 20 assists, play on the power or the penalty kill, bring you speed that you need. And if you lock him up at a capita of like 3.5 or 3 to 3.5, somewhere in that, for a 3 to 4 year term, you're not going to be upset. You're not going to be upset with what he brings. The problem with Kasperi Kapanen is that you put him beside Evgeny Malkin, you put him beside Crosby, and you expected this winger to go out and be a 30-30 guy, the person who put in 20 goals in Toronto. And that hasn't turned out the way it has. They wanted it to turn out in Pittsburgh. And in order for them to get a winger, if they have to give up Kapanen, that's fine. They're going to have to. It looks like they're going to just let go of him in some way.
Yeah.
And then the asset being John Marino, who, organizationally they might like a lot, but the fan base is kind of growing a little bit disgruntled. And you look at the cap hit, so it's what, 4.4 plus 3.2, that's 7.6.
I wonder what Brock's gonna make.
You wonder what Brock's gonna make, but the idea being that, okay, you move Brock in this deal and you fix one of the gaping holes in your roster, which is the right-hand D, who can play with Quinn Hughes, who can skate with Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
And then you get a middle six winger that brings you something you desperately need on this team, which is just speed. He might not, he might have all the tools in the toolbox, might not be there from time to time. But again, if you adjust your expectations and you say, Kasperi Kapanen, we just, if you top out at being a 35, 40 point winger.
And the price is right. Yeah.
And the price is right.
We don't need you to prolong Sidney Crosby's career another 5 years.
Exactly. And so the idea
Tanner Pearson can do that though.
Yeah. So the idea being that, okay, you're not just going to trade Brock Besser for a draft pick, but you're trying to make a forward momenting move to fix existing holes on this roster, while, having to make one of those deals that moves out a name piece.
Mm-hmm.
But can you argue, in a sense, that if the Canucks make a deal like that, which again, some Pittsburgh fans might tell me no, but some Pittsburgh fans will say yes. And that's the barometer of saying that, okay, this is within at least we're in a ballpark where I'm not saying like, okay, it's going to be Brock Besser for 2 firsts, John Marino and Lemieux's firstborn son or daughter, if we ever get to that situation. It's not that.
That's the starting. I mean, that's going to go up from there because of what Broccoli's worth.
Yeah, but that's something like that. That's a move that I would love.
Yeah,
that's a move that if you make it, not only sets you up for the future, not only says, okay, we've made a move that sets you up for the future, but right now, if you still want to go after the playoffs, you can.
Yeah, and that applies to both teams. Because if you add in like Jeff Carter's playing on a wing, you have Evan Rodriguez, you add Brock Besser into that top 6, that's a much more dynamic top 6 in Pittsburgh. Then you add in Kasperi Kapanen, who could steal just about anybody's job in that top 6, top 9, and you add a defense pairing, a defenseman for or for Quinn Hughes.
Well, you go Quinn,
beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, you look at so it'd be Quinn, Marino, OEL, Myers. I mean, they might move Myers just to make the cap space, but then, just thinking about if they make a move like that, then they can make other moves that aren't so present-facing moves without they fill in the holes they need to fill in. So you could move Myers and then bring someone cheaper to fill in that that second pairing right-handed role. Do they find someone for Hamonic? Can they move Hamonic in that Pittsburgh deal? And all this stuff. That's a move I would love for them to make. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love Brock Besser, he's 25. He's having the year he's having in everything. Do I think he's going to end up becoming, the Max Pacioretty that we owe kind of the Thomas Tatar, the whatever that kind of winger that we wanted him to be? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I agree with you on a lot of levels of Tyler Mott, where it's like, yeah, you have Tyler Mott. His name's Matthew Highmore.
Well, you gave such a smarter trade proposal. I'm living the van life. I couldn't really come up with.
Sprung that up on you. I've been thinking about this for weeks, but
it's spicier. It's smarter.
I've been trying
everything we hear is that, by golly, who would have thought the entire former Pittsburgh Penguins front office staff now working for the Canucks would want to make a deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Yeah, who knew? Who knew, Daddy? And so we'll see kind of what goes. I just really would prefer them just you got to make a move. It doesn't have to even be a big one, but just something that restructures you a little bit. to show which direction you're going to. And you already see within the Canucks fan base a little bit right now, like people being, I'm not going to give this certain person a bit of a runway, but they're like, oh, they haven't made a trade yet, so they don't know which way they're going. Oh my fucking God. Like, okay. All right, calm down. I'm sorry, like at the press conference that Jim Rutherford took in December, he wasn't like, yeah, we're trading it. Quinn Hughes has been traded for Claude Giroux. Kind of stuff like that. So we'll see by Monday. We'll see how they do tonight. We'll see how they do Thursday. Godspeed to everyone on Thursday that's going for St. Patrick's Day. Dude, Katie and I were offered tickets to go. Sadly, we can't because I have to take Katie to her MRI and we have a few doctor's things. But we actually realized afterwards, we're like, oh my God. If we
St. Patty's Day,
if we could, that would have been the St. Patrick's game. And I'm like, no, I'm like,
chaos.
I can't deal with that that maskless male energy.
Got the 2 middle fingers in the air for no more man.